When you sit with the intention of what many call meditating, we'd like to offer a different label to it because there's resistance even in the idea of that. But if you can decide that you want to quiet your conscious mind enough so that the non-physical mind that is purely focused upon all that you've become and the wholeness of who you are, if you can find a way of tuning into the vibrational frequency of that, those vibrations, once you learn to sit there for a little bit within them, will begin to turn to thoughts. And when those thoughts come, you will feel and understand, while we don't want you to focus very much upon them, the pleasure and the satisfaction of that thought. And as you sit there, not distracted by current, what you want to call reality, but experiencing the whole of your now vibrational reality, what's in your vortex will be able to make its way into your manifested world through the pathway that is your non-contradicted mind. Does that sort of make sense to you? So, have you ever sat to meditate? Do you sometimes do that? Are you doing it on a semi-regular or regular basis? And when you sit to meditate, when someone suggested to Jerry and Esther that they meditate, as soon as they got away from that person in the car, they said, "That's just weird." Jerry said, "I think of myself more as a business person." Meditation just seemed weird to them. That was many years ago, and to many it still seems weird today. But it's because there's not an understanding of what it means. Meditation, if you understand it, and you're about to, will take you back to the core vibration that is unchallenged by beliefs that are keeping you from what you want. Meditation will take you to the vibrational frequency that your inner being is, and as you're able to maintain it for a little bit, law of attraction will bring momentum to that. So when we talk about law of attraction, what we're really talking about is momentum. We're really talking about you being at some starting point, and law of attraction bringing the next and 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 the next. So if you're irritated by something, law of attraction will bring you more and 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 more of things like that. If you are in love with life, law of attraction will bring you more and 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 more of that. But we love you so much. We love you so much. You are sloppy in your thinking. You are reactive in your thinking. You are letting everything in the world be the reason that you are offering the vibration that you're offering, and then you are in opposition to what you really want. You can't get there from there. So, when you sit to quiet your mind, at first it's very difficult because your mind has been trained to be responsive to your environment. But when you quiet your mind, and what that requires is focusing upon something quieter. Esther sat to meditate yesterday, and she had a load of clothes in the washing machine, and a door closed, but she could still hear the clanging and the banging of the zipper on the jeans. And it kept her from being able to withdraw from her physical experience. Just something that simple. And she thought, well, it'll stop in a minute, but it didn't. It was an hour and 12-minute cycle. And so it wasn't a good choice of a time or a place for her to intend to quiet her mind. If your telephone's going to ring, it's not a good time or a place to sit to meditate. You want to find a time when you are not likely to be interrupted, in a space where you can really control the environment a bit. It's good if you can shut out the things that you're mostly physically attracted to. So as you sit in this comfortable position, it doesn't matter what it is as long as it's comfortable. And as long as you believe that you can maintain it for at least 15 minutes without needing to worm around, sit in a comfortable place with one intention, and that is to let your mind be still. And when your mind wanders, and it will, just focus upon the idea that you want your mind to be still. Now, we have noticed, as we've watched so many of you, that it is really helpful if you can find something to focus upon that isn't much to think about. Like even a ticking of a clock is a pretty good thing. Or the dripping of a faucet is a pretty good thing. Or if you want your eyes to be open, it's really better if they're closed, a flickering of a flame. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's not very much. So it has your attention, but it doesn't bring a lot of attention. You get the idea. Find something that is easy for you to focus upon that's not very thought-provoking. And then just focus on it until you receive the sign that you have quieted your mind. And that sign is a physical, visceral feeling of detachment from this time and place. It feels like numbness. It feels like floating. It feels like a suspension of gravity. It feels like detachment. It feels like soothing. It feels delicious. So Esther is sitting there, and once she achieves that state, she begins to realize that some intention other than her own is making motions with her physical body. In other words, she's not deliberately thinking about what she's going to do with her physical body. Something else is, that broader perspective is, that quieted mind is. And once she feels that detachment and begins to feel that, and you will in a day or two or three or four or five, you will feel that. And here's the advantage to you. When you get to that place where you are mindless, you are thoughtless, and the non-physical part of you now is the dominant part of your vibration, you are in a state of utter well-being just for a moment. And you are not doing anything with your physical noticing, with your physical senses, that's distracting from that base of well-being. Now you see, the thing that's so wonderful about allowing, it might take you 15 minutes to get there, and you might only be there a minute or two before your meditation time is up. But that's enough. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. It's just important that you get there, because when you get there, you have pushed the reset button. You have given yourself an opportunity to have detachment from the vibrations that are hindering you. And that rut that Esther found in her knowing what she didn't want and trying to find what she did want is now a little softer. It's less likely that she's going to stay in that rut once finding that. You see what we're getting at? We can feel that you're not feeling very engaged in the idea of this, but the reason that we're sticking with this subject anyway, even though you might be feeling little resistance to it, is because we know that if you will allow yourself that quieted place, it's like a high-rise building that somebody has told you is not steady on its foundation, and so you just put more rebar up in the top of it and more concrete and try to guy it out, maybe to sky hooks or to other buildings or maybe to the ground. But if the foundation of that building isn't secure, it's not going to stand in that secure place very long, and neither are you.